In today's episode, the Vauxhall Firenza. Hello and welcome to Quarterlight, your car brochure channel, where we look at many different makes and models of car through car brochures through the 1960s, 1970s, 80s and 90s here on YouTube. And like we said at the start of the show, today we're looking at the Vauxhall Firenza. This particular brochure was printed in 1973. And incidentally, if you like this type of content, please do consider subscribing, which will always be completely free. Anyway, let's turn our attention to today's brochure. So here is today's brochure, the Vauxhall Firenza, in a very sort of simple brochure, very short brochure, so it's not going to be a huge episode today, but yeah, an interesting model. So we've got the Vauxhall badge at the bottom here, simply titled Vauxhall Firenza, and then we've got a smaller size picture of the car itself. And I always thought these were quite a striking car for the time period, particularly that sort of Droopsnoot Vauxhall nose on there does actually make it look like a much more modern car than 1973, I thought, looking at this picture. Particularly when you think about things like the Morris Oxford, which was like a very elderly design, which was dropped in 71, and then this is showing a picture here in 1973. How modern does that car look? It does to me anyway. As we zoom into the front there, we can see the unusual placement actually of the Vauxhall badge. But overall, I always think it looks more modern than what it was, but obviously it's quite an elderly underpinnings. Really, it was a development of the Viva. Incidentally, for those watching in other countries, it was sold as the Chevrolet Firenza in South Africa. The name Firenza, kind of like a derivative of Firenze, the name of the Italian city known in English as Florence. But I think Vauxhall Florence really wouldn't have had the same impact. This one, I'm no expert on Vauxhalls, but this one would have been referred to as the High Performance Firenza. In 1973, which is the date this is printed, Vauxhall developed a restyled version of the Firenza known as the High Performance, sometimes known as the HP Firenza, or often known quite simply as the Droopsnoot, because of that very unusual and what, in my mind, makes it look a lot more modern than what it is. A very distinctive aerodynamic nose. So really at this time the actual traditional or flat fronted Firenza was then rebadged as the Magnum Coupé. And then the Firenza name was used exclusively for these more high performance versions. But they're an interesting car. I've always been a little bit fascinated by that front end. I like the side, which is the reason why I've zoomed into it, that sort of those lines, but really it is all about that very unusual Droopsnoot. Anyway, I'm waffling too much. Let's have a look at the brochure. When we open the brochure, we get a lovely image of the inside of this one, another angle showing the wheel, but it also gives us a good idea of that Droopsnoot design. And then we've got another racing Firenza up here, but it's actually the flat fronted one, so it gives us a look at what it looks like without that Droopsnoot. However, we'll start as always with the text, and we'll loop back to these lovely images. So engine wise, we're using the 2.3 litre OHC engine, produces 131 bhp at 5500 rpm and 144 pound-foot of torque. This increase in power compared with the standard engine is achieved by the use of larger valves and improved porting to give better breathing, a high lift camshaft, a lightened flywheel and a free flow exhaust system. The engine owes a lot to Bill Blindenstein's, possibly saying that wrong, experience with the DTV Firenza on the racetrack. Gearbox we've got a 5-speed ZF gearbox with 4th gear, the direct drive ratio. So 5th speed as well. It all seems like before its time, really. Brakes, in keeping with top speed, high capacity, brakes are fitted with heavy duty front discs in diameter, and obviously showing the dimensions there. And unfortunately, we kind of like think it would be discs all round, but drums at the rear. As we can see here on the next paragraph, it says a brake pressure warning light is incorporated in the system. The suspension, the lowered and uprated suspension, features coil springs all round and special increased capacity hydraulic shock absorbers, heavy duty front suspension and a high duty live rear axle. A front anti-roll bar is fitted. Wheels, the 6J alloy wheels feature the Avon safety rim concept and are fitted with 185 by 70 HR by 13 radial tyres. Lighting, to match the performance, 2 pairs of Cibi rectangular halogen headlamps or headlights are incorporated behind glass panels. Those particular headlamps actually are the same headlamp unit as used in the Alpine A310, and actually give a kind of like similar sort of look actually. But moving on, instruments and interior, and we'll certainly have a look at that interior picture because this will match, it shows the instruments etc. So we're going to 7-dial instruments, include speedometer with trip meter, tachometer, temperature and fuel gauges, battery condition indicator, oil pressure gauge and a large clock with sweep second hand. All controls are within easy reach of the driver. Interior, with the exception of grey cloth seat inserts, the interior is all black. Front seats recline, there are carpets throughout, and in front of the passenger is a large grab handle. Heated rear window, inertia reel seat belts, 2-speed wipers and electric screen washers are standard. Exterior, the Firenza is available in one distinctive colour, silver starfire, so we can only get this in silver, rather unusually. The unusual shape of the nose cone is exceptionally functional. It reduces the drag coefficient and helps keep the car stable at high speeds. Performance, brake horsepower and torque are graphically illustrated above. We'll have a look at that later on. Acceleration through the gears, 0 to 30 in 3 seconds, 0 to 60 7.6 seconds, 0 to 100 23.5 seconds, mean maximum 120. So it's not all about those looks, is it? For 1973, that's a pretty quick car. Economy, due to combined aerodynamic shape and gear ratios, the Firenza has a fuel consumption of 34.4 mpg at 60 miles per hour and 30.1 mpg at 70. Not too bad figures. All figures quoted are derived from manufacturer tests at the Millbrook Proving Ground. So there's the interior. It tells you all black apart from the top covers of the seats, but I certainly think you need that to break all the black up a bit. It's quite a sporty looking interior though, isn't it? Let's just zoom in a bit further. A rather nice looking sporty steering wheel with that Vauxhall emblem in the centre there, and then that 7-dial instrument panel which it talked about in the description. Bit of a grab handle there for the passenger in case things get a little bit too leery from your overexcitable driver. Unusual angle of the gear lever there as well. And then moving on, great image here of the Firenza in racing spec here, isn't it? This is about the dealer Vauxhall team here. Not sure who the driver is, but what a lovely image. But it also gives us a look at what they look like without that Droopsnoot front end. So here is this what it refers to as the brake horsepower and torque are graphically illustrated above. Not very easy to see on camera, but that is that torque curve there. And then if we move down, we can have a look at those alloys and also a look at that Droopsnoot nose which has been added on there for aerodynamics, and also that it looks very modern actually when they throw that on there. But yeah, it gives you a look at it from a different angle. It also gives you a look at that wheel arch and how it's really an unusual design. And then the rear of the brochure, I said it was only going to be a short brochure and a short episode because we're straight into technical specifications, but let's have a look at the image from the rear first. There we go. Overall, an interesting design. No head restraints on there, you'll quickly notice, which certainly ages the car. Little tiny lights at the back also I think ages it a bit, but a very interesting design. Quite a large boot at the back there, and then when we zoom in, there is our Firenza badge in the centre. No reversing lights either, if you notice. Again, aging the vehicle. Let's look at the technical specs. Starting under the bonnet, so it's a 4-cylinder engine. Capacity is 2279cc, and like we learnt before, 131 din net bhp, torque 144 pound-foot din net. We're using 4-star premium. A look at the ratios for that 5-speed ZF transmission. Continues with the rear axle ratio and the clutch diameter. Also showing the dimensions there as well. But moving down. So standard equipment, we get a heated rear window, inertia reel seat belts, fully underseal, or full underseal I should say. Prop shaft with 3 constant velocity joints, laminated windscreen, electric screen wash, reclining seats, a sport steering wheel, carpets, 2-speed windscreen wipers, cigar lighter, anti-dazzle windscreen wipers, through floor ventilation, 2-speed heater fan, full sports instrumentation, halogen headlamps, a heavy duty alternator, warning lights 4, high beam, turn indicators, ignition, oil pressure, brake pressure handbrake, heated rear window. And then right at the bottom there it's telling us Vauxhall Motors Limited, Luton, England, the code for the brochure, and 1073 or October 1973, and printed in England. So there we go, a quick episode of Quarterlight and, more importantly, the Vauxhall Firenza. Do you remember these? Were you the lucky owner of one? Please, just in the comments. Love always reading your comments, always extremely interesting and always very knowledgeable. I am thankful for the very knowledgeable viewers out there who have subscribed. If you've not done already, please do consider subscribing. We'll end, as we always do, by looking back at the brochure. And the rear of the car seems a suitable final image. And also I can add a couple of boxes there for other episodes you may want to watch and continue viewing. We've got over 600 episodes of Quarterlight now, believe it or not, which is crazy. For what is a very tiny little channel. So like I say, please do subscribe. We are slowly growing. The more interesting comments, I think that really makes the channel. Also, you can become a member now. There's lots of different rates you can pay to become a member from a very, very cheap, low rate. Take a look at that. It's not very much at all to get in basic membership, and you get all the features of having an extra little episode each week. But thank you so much for watching today. Please do take care. We'll see you very soon. All the best and goodbye.